guys! Good evening everyone!
Hi everyone! Welcome sa daldalang walang curfew!
Usapang di nalalockdown, ito po ang QuaranTALK.
Yes, hindi talaga tayo mal-lockdown kahit may technical difficulties kanina.
Medyo 15 minutes tayo na delay pero chill lang tayo ngayon guys. It's a Friday night and wala po tayo ngayon sa B Live. Napapansin niyo nasa StreamYard tayo kasi contingency lang po natin to for transparency. Wala po tayong ang tawag dito, wala tayong countdown dito. Ay 81 days na tayo ngayon, no?
Yes, oo. 81 days.
Ba't sinisilip mo? Wala naman dyan.
May kodi ko kasi ako ng calendar, supposedly.
Okay. So it's a special day today, Eya, kasi ito yung first day natin ng Partner Fridays at ngayon pa nagloko si B Live. I mean yung Facebook pala.
Yes, pero not to worry kasi we have the branding behind us. Ngayong gabi po, this episode is co-presented by the 2030 Youth Force in the Philippines and in partnership with Youth Strike for Climate Philippines. So makakasama po natin sila mamaya. Sana, kung wala tayong technical difficulty ulit. Yan. Alright, so tonight po, special yung topic natin kasi it's World Environment Day. So this is a global celebration and an action and a campaign for the protection of the environment. So yes, again, thank you to the 2030 Youth Force in the Philippines and to Youth Strike for Climate Philippines for partnering with us in this celebration. And just to disclose, Jules and I are part of the 2030 Youth Force in the Philippines. Jules is the chairperson of the board of directors, and I am the national convener of this non-profit NGO. Yes. And Jules is also the chairperson of the Youth Force Asia Pacific. So yan, kaya kung makikita nyo sa background namin, lagi kaming may SDG wheel. At ito yung pag-uusapan din natin tonight. Pero bago yan, bibigyan muna namin kayo ng update tungkol sa COVID-19 pandemic. So Jules, let's show the numbers. Can we flash it on screen?
Yes, susubukan po natin ang makakaya po natin para po makita lahat yan. And yes, it's here. Nakikita nyo ba ngayon? Nakikita nyo na. Ayan, perfect. Okay, so ang total cases po natin ay nasa 20,626. Pumalo po tayo sa 20,000 yesterday, unfortunately. At ang death toll po natin ay nasa 987 na. At ang total recoveries natin, humahabol naman siya to more than 4,000 at 4,330.
At today po, no, yung bagong reported cases natin, we have 244 new confirmed cases. Meron pong 3 deaths reported today and 82 more patients have recovered as reported today. So yan po ang ating update.
Right. Okay. Ayan, okay, so ayun nga, kaninang umaga din pala, Eya, inere ng Palasyo itong weekly na message ni President Duterte. And yun nga, parang pinakita dito efforts ng iba't ibang agencies patungkol sa kanilang pag-handle sa COVID-19. And one trending na bagay doon ay yung naging statement ni DOH Secretary Duque. Kasi ang isang major concern na na-bring up doon, Eya, is hindi daw na ibigay agad yung compensation doon sa mga frontliners na namatay. So doon sa mga families nila. Yung medyo bothering lang doon, at least for me and for some people, kasi parang lumalabas na disappointed daw si Secretary Duque doon sa mga tao niya kasi parang petics. Hindi petics yung ginawa niya pero gano'n yung idea. To me, parang, di ba parang as a leader sa head ng DOH, bakit parang nilaglag niya ibang mga tauhan niya. So, parang disappointing lang. Parang nakakalungkot lang for a leader na ilaglag mo yung mga teammates mo. So, at this point, meron din po tayong pag-uusapan na QuaranTRENDS. Yung QuaranTRENDS po, dito po natin pag-uusapan kung ano yung mga pending na mga usapin po. Okay? So, ang pinaka-trending po natin, since partner po natin ngayon ang 2030 Youth Force, syempre about si SDGs. Yung nga nasa likod na rin po namin ngayon, yun po yung Sustainable Development Goals. So, ano ba ang Sustainable Development Goals? May ipapakita lang po ako ngayon na visual para po mas ma-appreciate natin kung ano ba ang SDGs. Okay, there you go. Okay, so ito po ang Sustainable Development Goals. Mapapansin nyo po, very colorful talaga siya. Meron tayong 17 na global goals. Okay, napirmahan po yan way back in 2015. So right now, in this year, 2020, ito po ang tinatawag na Decade of Action. So ano yung Decade of Action? That means ito na po yung last 10 years bago po ma-achieve natin ang SDGs. And this is led by the United Nations. So all countries na miyembro po ng United Nations ay nag-agree na suportahan ng SDGs at by 2030, yun po ang deadline, kailangan po na-achieve na po lahat yan. Mahaba po yan, marami po mga indicators at mga goals bawat particular goal, and yun po yung mga sinusubukan ng bawat bansa, iba't ibang governments, iba't ibang mga nations para po ma-achieve yan. And mapapansin nyo nga po, 17 yan, pero para mas madali natin maunawaan, meron pong 5 na P's. Yun po yung people, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yan nakikita nyo, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yan po yung people cluster natin. And then meron din tayong planet. Yun naman yung 6, 7, 8, 6, 7, 13, 14, 15. Yun po yung para sa planet. And meron din tayong prosperity. That is 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And our next P is peace. That is for SDG 16 and 17 for partnership. So kung hindi nyo po agad mamemorize itong SDGs, tandaan nyo na lang po yung 5 P's natin. Yun po ang people, planet, prosperity, peace, and partnership. So yan po ang trending natin pagdating sa usapin ng Sustainable Development Goals. And again, ito po yung pinaka-core ng 2030 Youth Force in the Philippines. Yan po yung pinaka-advocacy ng Youth Force. Okay? So kung interested po kayo na maging miyembro or maging advocate ng SDGs, ay sumali po kayo sa 2030 Youth Force in the Philippines. Okay, may tanong ngayon sa Facebook, supportive ba ang Philippine government sa SDGs? Yes, Ron. Through the NEDA, the National Economic and Development Authority, sila po ang pinaka-primary agency na top na i-implement at i-monitor. Actually, more on monitoring of the SDGs. So, ang PSA, kasama rin dito para sa mga data. For the other agencies, may developments naman na i-include na rin naman sa narrative nilang SDGs. From the side of the legislature, ang 2030 Youth Force in the Philippines last September ay naghain tayo ng panukala, actually not panukala, resolution pa lang, resolution to urge legislators to include the SDGs in their bills. So anong kahalagahan nun? Kasi mahalaga, may importance na rin siya na magkaroon ng provision dun sa mga bills nila on the SDGs. Okay? Okay, so next comment natin, yun, finally nakita ko din itong episode. Yes, nagkaroon po tayo ng technical difficulties. Na-report po yung account ko sa Facebook. Hindi ko po alam kung bakit kaya hindi nakalusot. So we had to use another platform. So we're here on StreamYard. And Rafa, hello. So hi, thank you so much for watching all the way from the United Kingdom. Okay. Alright, so yan po ang trending po natin for tonight, and that is the SDGs. Okay, so nabanggit po natin kanina na today po ay World Environment Day. Okay, so ano ba ang World Environment Day? Para makita nyo lang, meron din ginawang publicity material ang 2030 Youth Force in the Philippines. So, di ba ang ganda yan? Silipin nyo muna siya ng solo. Okay, so it's World Environment Day at syempre, in this time na focus tayo lahat sa pandemic, syempre natataranta lahat ng mga tao dahil dito sa pandemic na to. Mahalaga pa rin na pag-usapan natin kung ano ba itong World Environment Day. Kaya in this evening, meron po tayong mga guest. Okay, sila po ay mga advocates din at sila po ay makakasama natin para pag-usapan itong World Environment Day. Okay, I think ready na siguro itong mga kaibigan natin. Okay, so today is World Environment Day at makakasama po natin ang ilan sa mga leading advocates sa mga kabataan para pag-usapan yan. Okay, so unang-una, makakasama natin ang SDG 15 o Life on Land Ambassador. Siya rin ay isang forester. Let's welcome here on QuaranTALK, Mr. Adi. Adi, kamusta?
Hi Jules, okay naman. Magandang gabi sa lahat.
At syempre, may makakasama rin tayong isa pang very active na advocate patungkol naman dito. Isa siyang climate activist. Okay? Alamin natin yung mga ginagawa niya. Siya ay co-founder ng Youth Strike for Climate Philippines. Let's welcome on QuaranTALK, Jefferson Estela. Hi Jefferson, kamusta kayo? Jefferson, can you hear me?
Hi.
Okay, perfect. Okay,
Yep.
so
Yes.
firstly, siyempre, si Adi muna yung tanongin natin. Okay, so you've been an SDG ambassador, particularly for SDG 15, Life on Land, sa Youth Force in the Philippines for the past ilang years na? 4 years na. Tama?
Yes, 4 years, tama.
Okay, 4 years na. So, for the past 4 years, Adi, bilang isang kabataan, ano yung ginagawa mo bilang SDG ambassador?
Hello Jules, bilang isang SDG 15 ambassador at bilang parte ng 2030 Youth Force in the Philippines, nagsasagawa tayo ng mga programa, mga activities na related sa environment. Nandiyan yung Cambridge Climate Lecture Series na ginanap noong 2018 at marami pang mga campaigns na ginagawa sa likod ng 2030 Youth Force in the Philippines. Meron tayong mga educational materials na ipinopost natin online na maaaring makatulong para mas malaman ng mga kabataan at ng mga normal na tao kung ano ba yung mga kailangan nating gawin para makatulong sa kalikasan at sa environment.
Okay. Ikaw naman, Jefferson, nakikita ko yung mga activities na ginagawa ng organization nyo sa Facebook account, sa Facebook mismo, and nakakatuwa na talagang na may mainstream natin, napapaingay natin yung pagpapahalaga sa kalikasan, particularly sa climate justice because of your organization. So bilang isang climate activist, ano ba ang ginagawa ng organization ninyo para mas ma-mainstream pa yung call to protect our climate? Jefferson?
So for Youth Strike for Climate Philippines, what we do is actually it's activism. It's a form of activism. But yes, can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
Hello.
Yes, yes. Go ahead lang.
Is it clear?
Yes, yes.
So for Youth Strike for Climate Philippines, what we do in our organization, basically it's activism. But what we do is humanizing activism and using climate stories to encourage people to do climate action. So basically, we do strikes, rallies, but inside of it, we also tell stories nung mga naapektuhan ng mga calamities brought by climate change. For example, the survivors of Ondoy, of Yolanda, and many other calamities, lalo na yung kwento din ng mga vulnerable sectors, for example, the LGBT community, the women and children, and yung mga elderly and PWD natin. So, ito yung mga hindi naririnig na kwento because tayo as humans or Filipinos, what we see is calamities, but at the back of it, yung story, hindi natin naririnig masyado. So, yun lagi namin emphasize in the movement.
Right. Okay. So in this time of a pandemic, Jefferson, kasi syempre lahat ng mga institutions at mga groups naka-focus mismo sa pandemic mismo on how to adjust with the new normal, paano natin mabibigyan ng kahalagahan pa rin itong World Environment Day kahit na more on the health side yung pinaka-focus right now. So gets parang nalihis yung priorities eh. So ano yung pwedeng gawin ng mga youth activists, ng mga climate activists right now para masabi pa rin sa mga tao na this is still a very important issue?
For that, basically, yung hindi kasi naiintindihan or basically hindi alam ng tao when it comes to the pandemic is that it's really connected to nature. Let's remember that this pandemic happened because of the kumbaga yung paggambala natin sa mga species na nananahimik sa ating ecosystem. So because of the talamak na pagbebenta ng mga illegal na species, for example, the bats and pangolins, humantong tayo sa ganitong paraan. And hindi yun yung napag-uusapan because we focus on the disease but not to the root cause of it. So, dapat yun talaga yung emphasize din natin, no? Because ngayon, World Environment Day, it's very important na hindi hiwalay na issue ang usaping pangkalusugan sa usaping pangkalikasan dahil kapag madumi or hindi maganda yung kalikasan or yung kapaligiran na meron tayo, yung surrounding natin o yung buhay natin maapektuhan ng sakit, ng pollution dahil sa basura or mga mikrobyo.
Okay. Adi, ikaw bilang isang professional na forester mismo, of course, yun nga, nabanggit ko kanina kay Jefferson, na focus ng mga tao ngayon ay nasa pandemic mismo. Pero meron pa rin mga important issues na pumapagabag of course sa kalikasan natin. So, paano natin mako-connect na in a time of a pandemic, especially during this COVID-19, ano yung relevance ng protecting especially life on land during this time of COVID? Ano yung connection niya?
Jules, basically we need to kailangan din nating tingnan yung environment, itong kalikasan, itong kagubatan bilang isang tahanan ng mga hayop, ng mga iba't ibang halaman. As humans, we must recognize also that this planet is not only for us but for all organisms. Hindi dapat natin tingnan na itong planet na to ay para sa atin lang, but we also need to take into consider yung mga iba't ibang mga uri ng hayop, uri ng halaman na nabubuhay din sa kagubatan. Kaya papasok dito yung kailangan, yung need to protect our environment kasi especially our forests kasi ito lang yung natitirang habitat, tahanan ng mga hayop na to. So kapag tayo bilang tao nag-fail tayo na protektahan ito, nag-fail tayo na i-educate yung mga tao na huwag sirain ang ating kagubatan, dito papasok yung pagkakaroon ng mga ganitong viruses, pagkakaroon ng ganitong infections kasi tumataas yung tsansa, tumataas yung interactions ng mga tao dito sa mga hayop na supposedly hindi naman dapat natin ginagambala.
Okay. Sige, leading to that, i-pull up ko doon sa sinabi mo na possibly mayroong ginambala ng mga humans, let's say, itong mga species na to from our forest. So, going back to the beginning, siguro, ano kaya yung naging mistake ng mga tao kung kaya nagkakaroon ng mga pandemic tulad nito?
Jules, one, maybe people are not aware of these species. So, kailangan nating maging, sa sarili natin, kailangan educated tayo. We need to learn. Pangalawa, intentionally, because of the money, kaya dito papasok yung illegal wildlife trade na napaka talamak. Even in online world, mapapansin natin yan. Kahit nga sa mga Facebook groups, talamak ito mga illegal wildlife trades. And recently, meron na rin sa Lazada. So,
ano yung meron sa Lazada?
Nakita ko to somewhere in my timeline, yung about sa seahorse.
Okay.
So, di ba, napakahalaga ng role natin, not only to learn but also to share our knowledge, especially dun sa mga nag-aaral nito mga bagay na to.
Okay. Jefferson, going back to you. Mabalik tayo sa panawagan ng climate justice. I mean, it's an unending challenge and problem for the whole world. Kumbaga, isa rin siyang global challenge eh. Pero yun nga, going back to my point earlier na parang na move yung na reprioritize yung mga priorities ng mga governments ngayon. Ano yung pwedeng gawin ng government, ng private sector, specifically ng civil society in our sector right now, in the youth sector, to ensure na maingay pa rin, mainstream pa rin yung ingay for climate justice kahit na limited. Marami restrictions, hindi tayo makalabas ngayon sa mga bahay natin. Ano yung pwede nating gawin?
For that question, I believe na kahit yung ating panawagan ay, actually hindi naman siya nawala. Yung panawagan for climate justice, hindi siya nawala. Kumbaga, feeling ko for me as a climate activist, kasi kahit hindi kami makalabas sa street, sobrang lakas pa rin dahil nag-shift kami online and we need to adjust. But then, feeling ko mas lumakas yung panawagan dahil kumbaga, lahat ng nangyayari ngayon sa mundo or sa Pilipinas, kumbaga, iisa lang yung problema talaga, yung sistema na meron tayo. And because of that oppressive system, naapektuhan bawat isang tao. Kaya ngayon, pwede na ipinapanawagan natin ng mga CSO, ng mga youth orgs, ng mga union, ng mga samahan na magkaroon tayo ng just recovery or yung tinatawag na green recovery na babangon tayo sa pandemikong ito, pero hindi na tayo babalik doon sa mga nakagawian natin. Kumbaga, better normal, no? Hindi na tayo babalik sa madumi na paggamit ng maduming enerhiya na nagpo-pollute sa ating hangin, o hindi na tayo magwawaldas ng pera kung saan dahil iipunin natin ito or gagamitin natin yung pondo para sa disaster risk reduction or sa mga emergency na katulad nito para hindi tayo uutang sa World Bank or sa anumang institution pa. Mas papalakasin natin yung ating institution gamit ang sa agham para mas magkaroon tayo ng mga opisina o institusyon na mag-focus sa pandemya or mga institutions na mag-research pa. So, yun yung tinatawag natin na better normal. Kumbaga, hindi na tayo babalik sa ating mga nakagawian, better transportation, better economy or green economy, kumbaga inclusive pero sustainable, long term. Dapat dun mag-focus yung gobyerno at hindi sa ibang bagay na alam natin nangyayari ngayon.
Okay. Gusto ko yung term na yan, yung better normal. Kasi ang terms na ginagamit ng government natin ngayon, more on the new normal. Okay? So, parang isang bago lang. Pero ano tong klaseng bago na to? So you're saying na dapat better yung situation as compared to how we are doing things before. Sige, babalikan ko yan mamaya kasi pwedeng sa way forward yan. Nabanggit mo rin kanina, Jefferson, itong online efforts. Diba? Kasi parang ito na lang yung easiest platform na pwede natin galawan bilang mga advocates unless you can go outside your houses, which is kind of dangerous at the moment kasi nga 'di ba parang we're trying to restrict our movements, pero yun nga 'di ba we're moving forward din naman. Okay, so through that point parang more on awareness building yung nagagawa natin bilang mga advocates, 'di ba? Ito, we create shows, we release PubMat, etc. The challenge is how do we move forward? How do we translate those awareness level into action should the GCQ or should the community quarantine would be lifted already? Ikaw, Adrian.
Jules, for me, kapag natapos itong GCQ, I think one of the best thing that we can do is to engage with other youth organizations and all para, para ma-focus, magkaroon ng partisipasyon din sila dun sa ginagawa natin. And from that on, while we are sharing these materials online, we also need to act. So dito papasok yung pwede kayong mag-volunteer in activities na ginagawa ng iba't ibang organisasyon kagaya ng organisasyon na ni Jeff. Pwede silang speaking for the environment, pwede silang magtanim ng puno, or they can also promote sa kanilang bahay yung urban gardening na tinatawag, para hindi na rin tayo masyadong dedepende dun sa paggamit ng mga lupa and so forth.
Yes. Ikaw, Jeff, ano yung mga best practices, kumbaga, na nakikita natin around? Kasi itong panawagan natin on climate, di ba, medyo nakita natin yung peak on social media dun sa beat plastic pollution. I think it was 2018, 2019. And for the past couple of years, ano pa yung mga best practices na sa tingin natin, pwede nating ma-share na pwedeng gayahin ng iba?
Ako naniniwala kasi ako na aside from this practices, kumbaga, lagi nating ina-advocate na when we do something or when we hear something good for the environment, we should practice it. Kumbaga, behavioral change. But I think the best way, kasi personally, parang sobrang malapit sa akin at sobrang epektibo siya para sa akin dahil in a span of 1 year, yung mga kaibigan ko naging environmentalist or naging advocate na for environment is to really share what you have or what knowledge you have. Kumbaga, hindi ako talaga marunong about climate before. Nag-aral talaga ako so that I can share it to everyone. Kasi minsan ang mindset nating mga privileged person o yung may mga access sa information, minsan yung mga knowledge na nakikita natin or nabasa or naririnig, minsan sa atin lang siya nai-stuck. Minsan sa atin lang siya humihinto, hindi siya napaparting sa iba, no? We have seen or marami ako nakikita mga kabataan na uma-attend ng webinars, ng seminars, pupunta ng mga educational discussions. It's good, it's very good, and magandang effort yun. But the real action from that is to really share that knowledge to others. Kasi yung iba walang access from that ikaw meron. You have the privilege to have that information. Dapat sinishare sa iba. Diba? Yung iba walang internet, yung iba walang social media accounts, yung iba wala sa school, yung iba walang materials and resources. So you are the real, kumbaga, ikaw yung mismong instrument yourself. So I think that's the best practice. Kasi marami na talagang practice na pwedeng i-share, but I think it's you. You are the best practice.
Okay. Jeff, sususugan ko lang yun, no? Kasi napapanahon din yung issue ng activism. And kailangan ko siyang itanong, ano ang sagot mo sa tuwing maririnig mo na nag-work ba talaga ang pag-walk out or pag-put sa lansangan para even it's for, calling for action on the environment protection?
Maraming beses ko na siyang narinig sa mga tao, and nung mga una, masakit kasi parang, people wouldn't get it, yung reason kung bakit. But for me, meron talaga siyang effect, no? Kumbaga, wala man dun yung pinaka-vital aspect niya na, for example, instead of handing out the letters or handing out papers, documents to a senator or to a legislator, iba yung activism because it pressures them. Not to the extent na ipa-pressure mo because they have to do something, but pressuring that they need to do the right thing. Not because kailangan nila ng boto next time or kailangan nila ng mga kakampi, but they're going to do the right thing because it is the right thing to do. So, walking out actually or doing a rally or joining a rally is a very helpful tool because it strengthens the democracy. Kung may mali, people will speak up. So, malalaman ng mga tao na yung certain issue may kailangan na baguhin, no? Kahapon nga galing ako sa Diliman, no? And it's very heartwarming because ang daming bagong tao. Like, as in, sobrang daming bagong tao na pumunta na hindi sila part ng organizations. They just went there because they feel the need to speak up. Even na nasa pandemic. So I think may effect siya kasi ang daming taong sumasama na ngayon kahit hindi na sila yayain. They're kumbaga initiating na.
Okay. I think we're talking about, we're zeroing in impact, yung impact ng mga efforts natin. So yan yung impact pagdating sa activism mismo. From the side of Adi, as a professional forester, syempre yung ginagawa niyong efforts, talagang pinag-aralan niyo yan in your course, di ba? Ikaw, you're taking further studies then to parang mas professionalize pa and to have a specialization. So, ano yung paano nyo na ma-maximize or nagke-create ng ripples yung impact ng ginagawa ninyo? Parang how can you enjoin people given na very specific, very technical yung mga ginagawa ninyo? So how can you urge other people to join you?
For us, bilang isang forester, yung nature kasi ng ginagawa namin, ako personally, ang experience ko most of the time ay pagpunta sa gubat. So, may mga projects kami, may mga proyekto kami na ang ginagawa namin, inaaral namin kung ano yung mga makikita dito sa kagubatan na to. So, ang impact namin is mostly on policy recommendations. So, yung inaaral namin, ito yung nagiging basis nila when it comes to proper management ng ating mga kagubatan. So basically, itong baseline information na to, sakop nito kung ano yung mga makikita nating halaman, makikita nating hayop sa kagubatan, sakop nito kung ano ba yung magiging impact if ever na magkakaroon tayo ng development sa kagubatan. Ito yung nagiging basis ng mga policy makers, ng mga protected area man plan for a certain area. And siguro for other people, ako bilang isang forester, ang masasabi ko, they can join us by having the same advocacy. Yun nga, sabi nga 'di ba, for the 2030 Youth Force in the Philippines, what we can do is first to learn, and then we need to share, and then we act. So yun yung those are the things how we can help and how we can influence other people.
Yes. Actually, meron ding isang magandang initiative si Adi. Adi, share natin. Because I know that you really go on, diba? Tapos you are discovering new species and working on the conservation of these endangered
Yes.
species. And what Adi does, because Adi has a skill in photography, and he has transcended from this very academic endeavor of putting things on paper and working on policy making. I think Adi actually uses his own social media. Adi, what is the new campaign that you started? How are you using your
Thank you,
social
Aya.
media?
Thank you, Aya, for reminding me that. So I use my social media account para mag-raise ng awareness regarding our plans in our country. So basically kasi ako na nasa academe, most of the time I spend my time na nag-aaral ng mga iba't ibang nagbabasa ng mga journal articles, pero I realized one time, I think mas matututunan ko to if i-share ko. 'Di ba yun naman yung sabi nga nila, ito yung one way para mas matuto tayo is to share.
Mm-hmm.
So I use my social media account, especially my Instagram. I post photos of plants na makikita lang sa PiliPinas, sa bansa natin. And while I post these photos, I tell to people kung gaano ba ito ka-threatened or kung gaano ba itong mga halaman na to na tumataas yung risk nga na mawala dito sa mundo natin, dito sa Pilipinas. So, in that case, we can use social media to influence, to raise awareness, and to call for the people to join us with our advocacies.
Okay. Kaya, go ahead.
Oh, hindi kasi ang maganda dito if you go on Instagram, you'll nakita na a wandering botanist PH on Instagram. That's Abby's account. You will see the beautiful pictures of I think Adi started with, I think it was a flower, Adi. It was Rafflesia. He
Yeah, I
posted
posted
a
recently.
beautiful picture. You just go to Wandering Botanist PH. And pag nakita mo yung ganda nung species na yan, yes, oo. Pag nakita mo yung ganda ng halaman, nakikita ni Adi kapag siya yung pumupunta sa iba't ibang lugar dito sa Pilipinas, ng endemic species also. I think it helps people kind of get a better grasp and visual kind of experience man lang on what is out there on the field in our forests, and it adds to kind of like the desire to help
Yeah.
conserve these endangered species. So I think that's one way that we can use our skills and kind of make people understand what is it that we're missing out on. So yon. Yes, I just really want to share it because I find it a really interesting endeavor.
Yeah,
Adi,
that's good
yes.
with this. Sabi nga nila, we cannot protect what we do not know. Same with, we cannot love the person who we do not know, di ba? So, one thing to protect our environment, our forest, is to know what's inside our forest. So, yun. Ito yung hugot nung Instagram na to. Kagaya din sa
Ganda
mga
yun.
issues sa Pilipinas.
Yun
Diba?
din naman talaga yung usual flow ng when you're doing a campaign, 'di ba? Parang hindi ka naman pwede sumabak sa isang laban kung hindi mo rin naman alam yung ipinaglalaban mo. So bilang mga advocates, yan yung mahalaga eh. Parang we have the opportunity for the past 2 months, 'di ba? You were all of us were stuck in our houses, in our homes. So sana nagamit natin yung time na yun to know more about our passions and our advocacies. Okay, kaya kanina nabanggit itong the better normal. Nabanggit ni Jefferson yan kanina. Siguro sa way forward lang din bilang ma-advocates kayo lalo na for the environment. Ano itong better normal on the individual side? Kasi 'di ba tayo we mobilize people and nakikita natin impact ng mga ginagawa natin because we have people to work with. Pero on the individual level mismo, how can we make our new normal a better normal? A better normal kung i-compare natin sa from what we're doing before on the side of our advocacies. Sige, Jefferson.
For me, the better normal kasi is aside from speaking in behalf of, for example, the government na mag-shift sila into better normal, individually, syempre dapat i-consider natin yung actions natin. I-consider yung environment, i-consider natin yung sarili natin, our mental health, i-consider natin yung studies natin, i-consider natin yung work natin. Kumbaga, we are setting up a new system where ourselves will not be pushed into the limits because yun yung nangyari sa society natin, no? Because of the greediness, because of these things, oppressive system, nandito tayo sa kinahantungan natin na pandemic. And I think for me, individually, because I have this access to information, I have this access to kumbaga dahil privilege akong person, syempre dapat mag-contribute ako in my own way. For example, if I have the means to have a bike, I will buy para I will not kumbaga in my own small ways hindi na ako makakapag contribute ng gas emissions. Sa pagkain, no, bibili tayo ng mga pagkain na mas mura or kung pwede tayong mag-shift sa vegan, pwede tayong mag-vegan. Kung gusto natin mag-practice ng sustainability, pwede tayong magbaon ng straws, pwede tayong magbaon ng mga baonan. So that's and the list goes on and on. Maraming bagay ang pwedeng gawin. And I think if these things ay nangyari, no, kumbaga tayo mga privileged person, it can create a ripple of change. And I would like to also consider din yung ating mga kapatid ng marginalized sectors and vulnerable sectors, no, dahil ang dilemma lang natin for this better normal because yung makakapag-adjust into this system, ito yung may mga yung may mga means, no? How about yung mga kapatid natin na nasa marginalized sectors, no? So I think for them to adjust to this better normal is for them to ask for help or kailangan tumulong ng gobyerno sa kanila because they need help, no? Maraming nawalan ng trabaho, maraming nawalan ng pagkakakitaan, maraming nagkasakit, no? So I think that's the best way that that those people can stand up for after this pandemic.
Mm-mm. Thank you, Jeff. Adi, maybe as we wrap up, you can share with us your last words of wisdom from our resident forester. How can we help in designing this better normal for our planet?
For me, to live with a better normal is like living a day like it's your last day. So as an individual, I would use my day, I would spend my day to continue with my advocacy. I would use every time and efforts para mas mapalaganap pa kung ano ba yung mga gusto natin mangyari dito sa mundo natin because this coronavirus exposed that we had a broken system. So dito papasok yung mga different issues. We had political issues, environmental issues, a lot of issues. So we must continue our desire to help, our desire to protect and conserve the environment.
Okay.
Yes. Thank you, Adi. Thank you, Jeff, for joining us tonight.
Mm-hmm.
Jules?
Okay. So, yeah. Okay, thank you so much guys kasi ilan kayo sa mga parang mga inspiring na mga advocate, na mga leader advocates natin from the 2030 Youth Force. Sa mga EYA, si Adi, 4 years na siyang SDG 15 ambassador. Nakakatawa na talagang nasi-stretch na yung patience niya as an advocate, and we have Jefferson na nag-mobilize siya ng sarili niyang organization para mas spread naman in focus on climate activism.
Let me just share.
Can I add?
Yes, Jeff, go ahead.
Actually, I would like to thank 2030 Youth Force for nung sumali ako ng 2030 Youth Force, everything changed talaga, and the organization really helped me to hone my advocacy. Hindi naman ako umalis ng 2030, but rather I just focus on the advocacy itself, which is the climate action. So thank you guys. Thank you for the organization that you build, no. So yeah.
Thank you for what you're doing.
Nakakilig naman yun, Jeff. Pero before you said that, I was really gonna share na Jeff started, I think he was a member advocate and a leader advocate in region, was it 3 or region 4A?
4A.
4A. Tapos he started designing, I think, publicity materials also for the organization.
Yes.
And a couple of months later, I just found out, when Greta Thunberg started the movement also, and then Jeff started the movement here in the Philippines with Youth Strike for Climate Philippines. And yeah, I just saw the growth ng mga young advocates natin, and I hope we see more young people finding their passion and finding their core advocacy, really push for it. Thank you, Jeff, and thank you, Abby, for all the work that you do. Yes, Jules?
Thank you.
Thank you so much for inviting us here.
Thank you for inviting us.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Good night, Ea and Jules. Good night.
Good night. Okay, ayan. Nakakatawa yung pinag-usapan natin ngayon kasi ito nga, talagang they're creating impact in their own organization. So nakakatuwa na they're creating ripples of activism and of advocacy in their own platforms. Okay, meron meron lang tayong comment sabi ni Dan Rocha, good job young men. We need this kind of mindset during this time and looking forward to continue your advocacy. Kudos to all.
Mm-mm. Thank you, Dan. Yan, actually, this pandemic, if we're tracing this pandemic to, the human action and inaction in protecting our environment, and degradation of forests, as Adi explained, contributed to outbreaks of infectious diseases like this COVID-19. And we've seen the ripples effect of this pandemic. You see jobs lost, you see the injustices, the inequalities being highlighted amid this pandemic, and we see people going hungry and losing their jobs. And yes, I hope I'm back on air. Yes.
You're back.
Okay. So yon, we see the effects of not protecting our environment, and I think COVID-19 just highlighted that. I would just want to share part of the message for World Environment Day of Undersecretary General for the United Nations and also the Executive Director for the UN Environment Program. He said in his World Environment Day message that now is not the time to set aside environmental laws and norms in the name of recovery, as we have seen done in some places. We need to strengthen environmental protection to build back better. And yun, so it's an important reminder that as we build back better, post-pandemic, hindi sana maisantabi yung mga environmental issues sa paggawa ng mga bagong policies, that it should still be pro-people and pro-nature.
Yeah. When was this? Yesterday, I had a meeting with my colleagues from UNYAB. So I'm part of the United Nations Youth Advisory Board in the Philippines. So what we're talking about, yung pinaka-focus namin is, kasi we are providing parang inputs sa decision making ng UN Philippines. Ang sabi namin, na sana kahit nga focus tayo ngayon dito sa pandemic, hindi pa rin mawala yung goal natin towards the SDGs by 2030. Kasi yun nga parang let's use this as an opportunity na this is a challenge. Parang ito yung main challenge ng decade of action natin, di ba? How will you achieve the SDGs despite having a global pandemic? So ito yung parang mas mapapalakas pa yung campaign, mas magiging resilient pa siya sa iba't ibang mga problems kung mapagtatagumpayan natin itong pandemic na to.
Yes. Oo. And it is highlighting also how integrated the 17 SDGs are. Kahit makalimutan niyo yan, ang core po niyan is to eradicate poverty, to protect the environment, to promote prosperity, to achieve prosperity, to promote peace and justice. And we can only do those things if we have multi-sector partnerships and if everyone will be on board this movement for sustainable development. And with that, we would like to share also another call to action for you guys on how you can help in achieving the SDG. Sisimulan natin yan dito sa segment natin na Anong Ambag Mo. For first call to action, we have here PiliPinas. It's PiliPinas, sorry. Yan, PiliPinas. This initiative is centering on SDG 16, which is peace, justice, and strong institutions. And PiliPinas, Tatak Mo, Tatak Natin para sa Bayan is a youth-led campaign for voters' education and youth participation. It aims to engage everyone in the electoral process, and it aims to increase voters' turnout in the Philippines, especially in the upcoming presidential elections 2022. And if you want to see better change happening, we are inviting everyone to register to be able to vote in the upcoming elections. And that's the call of PiliPinas, to have more young people, actually to have everyone go out and vote and take part in good governance and democracy in our country. So for more information po, you can go to their Facebook page, PiliPinas, Tatak Mo, Tatak Natin para sa Bayan. So just look for them. That's their logo also that you will see when you try to search for them on Facebook. So that's our first initiative featured tonight. And we'll go
Right.
to our
I wanna add dito sa voting na to. By next month, that's July, start na uli ang pag-register. Okay, so you can start registering so you could be an eligible voter by May 2022. Alam mo, ito yung pinaka-first advocacy ko bilang isang youth leader, voter education. It started way back in 2012. We started Tatak Botante, and that's under the NILE right now, National Alliance of Youth Leaders. Ang pinaka, parang pinuhugot ko kasi dito, parang voting, your right to suffrage is your direct participation in governance, 'di ba? Ito yung pinaka mo, direct na ambag mo sa governance. So why waste it? Lalo na kung eligible voter ka. Tapos you didn't bother to register. Siguro kasi busy ka. Busy ka naman siguro lagi. Kailangan mo lang talagang maglagay ng panahon para mag-register. Kasi for me, parang sayang yung ingay mo, online or offline, kung hindi rin naman yan natatranslate sa boto. Okay lang na frustrated ka kung natalo yung mga binoto mo. Ang mahalaga doon, bumoto ka. 'Di ba? Nag-participate ka doon sa concrete participation mo for governance. So please do register starting July.
Yes, at uunahan ko na, no, kasi malamang isa ito sa may encounter yung issue, problema, personal, o minsan sa among your friends. Pag bago kang magre-rehistro, pwede kang maka-encounter ng kung ano-anong problema or kung ano-anong challenge at difficulty. Simulan natin yan sa, for example, hindi mo makita yung pangalan mo o hindi mo maalam kung saan presinto ka pupunta o mahaba ang pila o hindi ka makaalis sa trabaho o busy ka dahil sa school at hindi ka makapag-absent or marami pang iba. Hindi lang naman isang araw yung araw para mag-register. We recognize that there are difficulties po in registering. There would be challenges, personal challenges even. But I hope that it doesn't deter you from going out and registering for the elections. You know, when you miss out this chance to register, ilang taon ka ulit maghihintay bago ka ulit maka-participate sa election ng bansa mo. And your sacrifice for a certain period of time registering, going out to register, will actually equate to several years of governance that you will see in this country. So I really hope na makatulong din tayo para mapabilis at mapadali yung process ng pagre-register. And we'll see what we can do about it in the coming weeks and the coming months. I know may mga nakalatag din si Jules na initiative with Nile for the election and for voters registration. So we'll see also what we can do to help our fellow young people be able to register on time. So yon, and this one, another thing that we would like to share with you, our partner organization for tonight, 2030 Youth Force in the Philippines, is opening several positions for leadership, and that includes SDG ambassadorship and the post for regional coordinators. We are looking for SDG ambassadors for the SDGs flashed on your screen with our preferred background. As 2030 Youth Force Philippines looking for new ambassadors and regional coordinators. The ambassadors po will take the lead in crafting and aligning programs addressing the targets of the SDGs, while the regional coordinators will be the focal person for each geographic region in the country. This is open to Filipino youth ages 15 to 30 years old. And if you're interested, send your CV and letter of intent to youthforceph@gmail.com. Deadline of applications is on June 13. And for more details, go to our Facebook page, 2030 Youth Force in the Philippines. If mahirapan kayo, type at Youth Force PH. Just can we show, do we have the visual for the regional coordinators?
Sure. Sige, I'll pull it up.
Okay. For the regional coordinators, I'll just give a rundown. The 2030 Youth Force has presence across the country, but we are establishing our regional chapters. We are looking for the focal persons for some of the regions. And while we have members there, we are looking for someone to lead this group. And we are looking for regional coordinators for Region 1, Ilocos Region, Region 3, Central Luzon, Region 4B, Mimaropa, Region 7, Central Visayas, Region 9, Zamboanga Peninsula, Region 11, Davao Region, and Region 12, Soc-Sargen. Jules, bakit nga ba tayo may regional coordinators? Bakit nagkaroon ng regional chapters ang 2030 Youth Force?
Right, kasi we have the National Council and we have Regional Council. So somehow parang pattern din siya sa government system natin sa Pilipinas. It's more on an easy structure to cascade the programs, 'di ba? Tsaka iba-iba kasi yung concerns ng mga regions, 'di ba? So mas tailored fit yung mga advocacies, yung mga programs nila kung merong mga regional council. So you will be given, of course, the liberty to brainstorm on how to do things in your own regions while at the same time following the vision of the National Council. So please, kung part po kayo ng mga regions na to, please do register. Nakikita niyo po ngayon kung paano mag-apply. Submit nyo lang po yung application essay and CV po ninyo dyan po sa email address na yan at ang deadline po ay June 16. Please be part of this organization. Nakita nyo kanina si Jefferson na nagsabi mismo, diba? He's a leader advocate of Youth Force and now he's leading his own organization. So nakakatuwa na ito yung mga parang success stories ng Youth Force na nagiging jumpstart platform nila ang Youth Force to create their own advocacy platforms as well.
Yan po, maraming salamat also for everyone who's been part of this organization. And again, that the SDG movement, the Movement for Sustainable Development, ay bukas para sa lahat. Inaanyayahan po kayong lahat to learn more about the SDGs. You can just Google, lagay niya lang Sustainable Development Goals at lalabas yan. And we hope to see more bills and more policies aligned with the SDGs. And I know the movement and the efforts have started in Congress. Susubaybayan din natin yan, Jules, in the coming months, no? So that's it for tonight. This is our special episode of World Environment Day. And again, I will just wrap up. Kita-kita ulit tayo dito sa daldalang walang curfew.
Usapang hindi nalalockdown. Ito po ang QuaranTALK. We go live on Facebook. Yes, on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 11 p.m.
Yes, follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/QuaranTALK online.
Let's continue the discussion on our personal accounts. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Jules Guiang.
Yes, connect with me on Twitter at @Aya_Antonio and on Instagram at @Aya_Antonio. Maraming salamat everyone. Good night. Happy weekend.